You got to be in defensive meetings. You got to be in wide receiver meetings. You got to be in defensive back meetings. How is there enough time to do all that? How did you prepare for that when you played college?
Well, we kind of got 24 hours in a day. We probably sleep for about 8 of those, so we probably got 16 more. So the 16
and all
that
of them
I'm
dedicated to those.
Yeah, all of them dedicated to football.
I love this kid. All right, Mel, you have Hunter now going second to Cleveland. How should the Browns use him if they draft him?
He's been number one on the big board, the first one to the last one. And Shedeur's been QB1, first one to the last one. Love these two kids because they get it. They've been playing professional football mentally their whole life. That's the way they approach everything. Travis will define where he's going to be great, right? He hasn't had a chance to focus on one spot playing both ways. All the energy, you talk about the stamina, the endurance that it took to do what he did in college. He hasn't had a chance to be great at one spot, but he has been despite playing both cornerback and wide receiver and taking hits and delivering hits. It's been unbelievable what he's accomplished. And with Cleveland, if he goes to Cleveland at 2, the juice that they need on offense, he will provide. The coverage ability, they got corners, but you can never have enough corners. So when you get into a situation where it's late in the first half and you need that stop because teams are going to get the ball there and to start the second half, double it up. Or late in the game, comes down to a final drive or two in all these NFL games, right? He's got to be out there. Dion said it best. You can't have Travis Hunter standing next to the coordinator when your corners are getting toasted and we're in the final couple minutes of a game and we need to stop. He's got to be out there. So Travis Hunter, hey, you know about safest, riskiest? Hey, if he's not great one way, he's going to be great somewhere else, and he'll probably be really good or great both ways. So while he's young, he's going to play both ways. Wide receiver, predominantly at Cleveland, sprinkle him in at cornerback.
Yeah, I think if he goes to Cleveland, when you're looking at Newsome, Ward, and Emerson, it makes more sense for him to be a primary wide receiver, and you sprinkle him in defensively. But I believe he's a Hall of Fame defensive back. I believe he's a guy that could come into the league and have that Derek Stingley, Pat Surtain effect, especially the way that he plays the football. I tweeted about it watching the pro day that the dude didn't go out and catch with gloves. And Shannon knows this. You get comfortable playing with those gloves, and you sort of to utilize them as a crutch. On the biggest job interview that he's ever had, he said, you know what? I'm going to go out here with no gloves. I'm going to catch every football. I'm going to absorb it into my hands because I am that skilled at this position. But think about that playing defense. If he touches the football 6 to 8 times and comes down with those interceptions, that changes a football game. And so to me, I would have him as my cornerback 1 and then sprinkle him in on offense in 11 personnel when you go 1 back, 1 tight end, and now you give him opportunities to not only make plays on 3rd down and in the red zone, but be utilized in the 2-minute the way that Deion Sanders says he should be.
Shay?
I agree with you, RC. And he said they asked him how many plays he's going to play. He said all of them. I'm not concerned with how many plays you play. I'm concerned with how many great plays you have. Yeah. And I agree with you, RC. I think for me, his instincts are better on that side of the football, the defensive side of football, because, Mel, I think it's easier to build. You play defense and build a package, a la what the Cowboys did with Dion, a la what it was a different situation in New England with Troy Brown. But with that being said, I agree with you, RC. I think he has Hall of Fame instincts and ability at the DB position, and then you sprinkle in a package because I believe it's easier to build a package for an offensive player as it is a defensive player. But it's going to be tough because, hey, you getting Jefferson, you getting Chase, you getting the best of the best. Yep. On both sides. You're going to get their best receiver and you're going to get their best defender. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But I believe he can play all the plays on defense and then sprinkle a package in on the offensive side of it.
Think about this, y'all. If he plays Houston, he's going to get Nico Collins and Derek Stingley. If he plays against the Dolphins, he's going to get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey. That's a little bit different than playing against those guys at Colorado State. So I believe you do need to be smart with Travis Hunter to make sure you can get those great plays like you said, Shannon.
Absolutely. Mel, I never have enough time with you. I had a lot of questions about what the Raiders are doing. Gino, Pete Carroll, now maybe going running back. So you're just...
Had been. Now, I want to do a little bit of a sound off because earlier this morning, if you were watching, it was in this hour, we had a pretty good and healthy debate about Shedeur Sanders and whether or not he has all the athletic traits and everything else. And Mel offered a spirited defense of Shedeur Sanders, talking about historically great pocket passers, including Johnny Unitas. I want you to know that the debate spilled into the break. What you were about to see took place in the commercial break with Mel and Field.
Johnny Unitas could play in any era. He could play right now and tear up defenses in the NFL.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
My point was, it doesn't matter if it was 1968 or 2025, you can still win from the pocket, young fielding.
Well, you got to have a good offensive line. That's the part that
Please
makes
tell
me
me
very
we're
nervous.
rolling on this.
Giants, Saints.
It's exactly what I said about Brady when he was drafted. You're right.
Yeah, hey, and you nailed that one. But Brady at 44 played behind that Bucs offensive line. That was elite. With, by the way.
Right.
Great pass catcher.
And when the great Patrick Mahomes played behind a garbage offensive line, he stunk it up.
Yeah. Well, they made it to the Super Bowl, so they've been to 5 out of the past 6 Super Bowls. They still get there. They just.
The point is, in that Super Bowl, when they didn't have the line because of injuries or what have you, he stunk.
Well, just think about how much worse he would be if he couldn't escape the pocket at all. It might have been 100.
Wouldn't matter. Hey,
right.
It doesn't matter if you stink, you stink. It doesn't matter how bad you stink, you stink, you stink.
The ceiling is just lower. It's just
levels
lower.
of stinkiness.
That's right.
This is. Mel, but see, I knew we were in trouble. The minute Field downplayed Johnny Unitas to a man from Baltimore.
Right to the heart.
It's all over.
I was like, it's over. I mean, I don't know. Those are fighting words to Mel Kiper Jr.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, so I'm glad we were indeed rolling on that. So, okay. And you know what I like about that? It just goes to show you, like, this is legitimate passion, right? I mean, this is what we do, and this is how much these guys care about it, and it makes me feel good. So, anyway, let's just go back to the matter at hand here. Mel, once and for all, or at least for today, on Shedeur Sanders. Dan Orlovsky and others are saying this is an incredibly hard evaluation to make. I'm sure a lot of fans don't fully understand why that is. You've been evaluating quarterbacks at this point as long as anyone alive. Why is this such a hard evaluation?
First of all, what Young Fielding was saying is, I'm old and the game has passed me by. That's what he was saying.
Whoa.
The game has passed me by.
Your words,
but
not mine.
It has not passed, but it has not passed Joe Burrow by, Jared Goff by, Tua. There's other guys in the league that are playing pretty good that win from the pocket. For Shedeur Sanders, it's a tough evaluation, guys, because he doesn't have the rocket arm, the 4.6 speed, and he's not 6'4", 230. That's the bottom line. What he has is all the things you need once you're under center and you drop back in that pocket, and you got to try to be a surgeon and drive your team down the field. Talk about decision-making, accuracy, toughness, all the intangibles you need. He said, hey, I don't have to throw a fast 99-mile-per-hour fastball all the time. I got to make it easier for my receivers. Talk about a wobbly ball. Who threw the most accurate wobbly ball in NFL history? It was Peyton Manning, who Young Fielding wouldn't have wanted had he come out of Tennessee this year. We're going to call him an undrafted free agent. He can't play in the NFL right now. Peyton Manning could. So for Shedeur Sanders, I believe in old school traditional. You think it's passed us by.
Here's the thing that I'm now realizing, Greeny. And Greeny, you've been doing first draft with us this September, so you know this. Mel keeps reminding me, Young Fielding, you can't take Will Campbell out of the great LSU, where notable alums include the likes of Ryan Clark, because he's got 32 and 5/8-inch arms. You can't draft outliers. And you're comparing Shedeur Sanders to quarterbacks that played back when, I don't even know, Johnny Unitas retired in 1973. And who else? Dan Marino and John Elway and guys from the 83 draft class. You're not talking about modern comps anymore, Mel. So I see the Kiper stunt that is taking place right now. You're moving the goalposts. You're changing the rules. I've got a brother who's 2 years older than I am, Mel, and growing up, he always changed the rules to be in his favor. And I see what you're doing right now. You are exerting your tenure over me. Listen, I know we're 2 weeks away from the draft. The hay is mostly in the barn. It's okay. It's okay. I understand how this goes. One day it's going to be my day.
Let me, Phil.
I haven't lost my